Captain Jake Morrison stared at the view screen showing empty space filled with distant stars. The USS Hercules moved slowly through the dark void, its engines humming quietly. Jake had been commanding exploration ships for 12 years, but this mission felt different. They were farther from Earth than any human had ever traveled before. "Captain, I'm getting some strange readings on the long-range sensors," said Lieutenant Amy Parker from her station. Her fingers moved quickly across the control panel as numbers flashed on her screen. "There's something big out there, about 2 million kilometers away." Jake walked over to look at her display. The readings showed a massive object, much larger than any human ship. "Could it be an asteroid?" Amy shook her head. "No, sir, it's giving off energy readings, lots of them. This is definitely artificial." The bridge fell silent. Everyone knew what this meant. After decades of searching, humans might have finally found proof that they were not alone in the universe. Jake felt his heart beating faster, but he kept his voice calm. "Dr. Elena Brooks, please report to the bridge," he said into the ship's communication system. Within minutes, the chief science officer arrived. Elena was a brilliant woman in her 30s who had spent years studying the possibility of alien life. Her eyes lit up when she saw the sensor readings. "My God," she whispered. "Captain, if these numbers are correct, that object is over 3 kilometers long. No human technology could build something that massive. Could it be dangerous?" asked Commander Lisa Torres, Jake's second-in-command. Lisa was always the cautious one, thinking about the safety of the crew before anything else. "We won't know until we get closer," Elena replied. "But Captain, this could be the most important discovery in human history." Jake made his decision quickly. "Set course for the object. Reduce speed to 1/4. I want all sensors focused on it as we approach." Chief Engineer Ben Carter's voice came through the communication system from the engine room. "Captain, I'm reading some unusual energy patterns from that direction. The ship systems are picking up interference. Keep monitoring everything. Ben, let me know if anything changes." As the Hercules moved closer, the object became clearer on their screens. It was enormous, dark gray in color, and covered with strange markings. The design was unlike anything humans had ever built. Sharp angles and curved sections created a ship that looked both beautiful and threatening. "Attempting to establish communication," Amy announced. She had been trying different radio frequencies for the past hour, broadcasting on all standard channels, including mathematical sequences and basic pictograms. Elena studied the alien ship through the telescope. "Captain, look at these weapon ports. I count at least 50 of them on the side facing us. This is definitely a warship." "Any response to our signals?" Jake asked Amy. "Nothing yet, sir." "Wait." Amy's face changed suddenly. "Captain, I'm receiving something. It's not like our radio signals. This is something completely different." The bridge speakers crackled with strange sounds, deep vibrating noises that seemed to pulse with rhythm. Then, without warning, a voice spoke in perfect English, though it sounded cold and mechanical. "Primitive species identified. Scanning vessel. Technology level, inferior. Threat assessment, minimal. Initiating standard extermination protocol." "What did they just say?" Lisa asked, though everyone had heard it clearly. Jake's training kicked in immediately. "All stations, battle alert. Raise shields and charge weapons." "Captain, they're powering up something big," Elena warned, watching her. "Sensors. Energy readings are off the charts." The alien ship suddenly came alive with light. Bright blue energy began building along its hull, focusing on dozens of weapon ports. The Hercules, despite being humanity's most advanced exploration vessel, looked tiny compared to the massive alien warship. "Evasive maneuvers," Jake shouted. The first blast hit them before they could move. Bright plasma energy struck the Hercules' shield, sending shockwaves through the entire ship. The lights flickered, and several control panels exploded in showers of sparks. "Shields down to 60%, reported Sergeant Rick Stone from the tactical station. "Return fire." The Hercules fired its laser cannons and missile systems, but the weapons seemed to do nothing against the alien ship's defenses. Their attacks simply disappeared against some kind of energy barrier. Another plasma blast hit them, this time penetrating their weakened shields. The ship shook violently, throwing crew members to the floor. Emergency alarms began blaring throughout the vessel. Hull breach on Deck 7. Ben's voice came through the communication system, now filled with static. We're losing atmosphere fast. How long until we can jump to faster than light speed? Jake asked, holding onto his chair as another blast rocked the ship. The jump drive is damaged, Ben replied. I need at least 10 minutes to repair it. They didn't have 10 minutes. The alien ship was moving closer, and its weapons were charging again. This blast would likely destroy the Hercules completely. All hands, prepare to abandon ship, Jake announced, his voice heavy with the weight of the decision. This is not a drill. Proceed to escape pods immediately. Lisa began coordinating the evacuation while Amy continued trying to send distress signals back toward human space. Elena grabbed her research data, hoping some of their sensor readings might survive, even if they didn't. Captain, you need to get to an escape pod, Lisa urged him. I'm staying until everyone else is off, Jake replied firmly. The alien ship fired again. This time, the blast tore through the Hercules' hull like paper. Sections of the ship began breaking apart, venting atmosphere and debris into space. Ben's voice came through one last time. Escape pods launching now. All crew accounted for except bridge personnel. Time to go. Jake grabbed Elena's hand and ran toward the nearest escape pod. Lisa was right behind them as another explosion shook the dying ship. They reached the escape pod just as the Hercules' main reactor began to overload. Jake sealed the pod and launched it into space, watching through the small window as their ship, their home for the past 2 years, broke apart in a brilliant explosion. 12 people in 2 small pods drifted through empty space, the sole survivors of humanity's first contact with alien life. The massive alien warship hung in the distance like a dark predator, apparently satisfied that the human threat had been eliminated. Captain, Amy's voice came through the pod's communication system from the other escape pod. I managed to get a distress signal out before we abandoned ship, but at this distance from Earth, it will take weeks for help to arrive. Jake looked at the alien ship through the pod's tiny window. Elena sat beside him, still holding her data pad with the sensor readings they had managed to collect. At least we learned something important, Elena said quietly. We're not alone in the universe, and whoever they are, they see us as a threat that needs to be destroyed. Then we better make sure this information gets back to Earth, Jake replied, watching the alien ship slowly move away into the darkness. Humanity needs to know what's coming. The 2 escape pods continued drifting through empty space, carrying the survivors and the terrible knowledge that Earth now faced an enemy beyond anything they had ever imagined. The age of human isolation was over, and the age of war was about to begin. 3 days passed in the cold darkness of space. The 12 survivors huddled in their 2 small escape pods, sharing water and emergency rations while watching their oxygen levels slowly drop. Jake Morrison tried to keep everyone's spirits up, but he knew they were running out of time. Captain, I'm picking up a ship on sensors, Amy Parker announced from the other pod. Her voice crackled through the weak communication link between the 2 pods. It's human, but not military. Jake pressed his face against the small window and saw lights approaching through the darkness. A large cargo ship with the name New Horizon painted on its hull moved toward them. It was old and battered, the kind of vessel used to transport supplies between distant colonies. The cargo ship's communication system activated. This is Captain Sam Rodriguez of the New Horizon. We received your distress signal, preparing to bring you aboard. Within an hour, all 12 survivors were safely inside the cargo ship's main bay. Captain Rodriguez was a weathered man in his 50s with gray hair and kind eyes. His crew of 8 welcomed the survivors with warm food and blankets. We were heading back to Earth when we picked up your signal, Rodriguez explained to Jake. Lucky for you, we were the only ship in this sector. Jake gathered his surviving crew in the ship's main meeting room. Dr. Elena Brooks still clutched her data pad with the alien ship readings. Commander Lisa Torres sat quietly, still processing the loss of their ship. Chief Engineer Ben Carter looked exhausted from 3 days in the cramped escape pod. Captain Rodriguez, I need to know the current situation at Earth, Jake said. What's The status of our colonies? Rodriguez's expression grew dark. I'm afraid I have bad news. 2 weeks ago, alien ships attacked 17 human colonies. They destroyed everything. No survivors were found at any of the sites. The room fell silent. Elena spoke first, her voice barely a whisper. They're systematically destroying us. The Earth Defense Fleet tried to stop them, Rodriguez continued. We lost 12 ships in the first battle. The aliens have weapons and technology far beyond anything we possess. Jake stood up and walked to the room's small window, looking out at the stars. How long do we have? Intelligence estimates suggest the main alien fleet will reach Earth within 6 months, Rodriguez replied. Unless we find a way to fight back, humanity is finished. Elena suddenly looked up from her datapad. Captain Morrison, I've been analyzing the sensor readings from our encounter. The alien ship that attacked us took damage during the battle. What kind of damage? Jake asked, turning back to face her. Their main reactor was hit by debris when our ship exploded. The energy readings I recorded show critical system failures. That ship cannot make faster-than-light jumps in its current condition. Ben Carter leaned forward with interest. If they can't jump to light speed, where would they go for repairs? Elena pulled up a star chart on her datapad. Based on their last position and the damage they sustained, they would need to find a location with raw materials and a stable energy source. The asteroid field in this system would be perfect for emergency repairs. Jake studied the chart. The asteroid field was less than 2 days away from their current position. You're suggesting that alien warship is still in this system? It's more than a suggestion, Elena replied. I'm certain of it. They have to repair their reactor before they can leave, and that asteroid field is their best option. Lisa Torres shook her head. Captain, you're not seriously considering going after that ship. It destroyed the Hercules in minutes. We barely escaped with our lives. Commander Torres is right, Rodriguez agreed. That's suicide. Jake looked around the room at his crew. These people had followed him through dangers before, but this was different. This was asking them to voluntarily approach the most dangerous enemy humanity had ever encountered. Elena, what do we know about their technology? He asked. From what I observed during our brief encounter, their systems appear to be modular. Their weapons, shields, and propulsion systems all connect to a central power core. If we could understand how their technology works, we might be able to develop countermeasures. Amy Parker, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. Captain, before the Hercules was destroyed, I intercepted several alien communications. I've been working on translating them. She activated her portable computer and played back strange sounds mixed with mechanical voices. I think I figured out some basic words. They call themselves the Vorthak. From what I can understand, they see us as a threat that must be eliminated completely. A threat? Ben asked. We couldn't even damage their ship. Not a military threat, Amy explained. A developmental threat. I think they're afraid of how quickly human technology advances. They want to destroy us before we become too dangerous. Jake processed this information. Humanity was facing extinction not because they were weak, but because they had potential. The Vorthak were eliminating a future threat rather than a current one. Captain Rodriguez, Jake said, I need to ask you to take us to that asteroid field. Are you insane? Rodriguez replied. That's a warship that could destroy us without effort. If it was at full power, yes. But Elena's readings suggest it's severely damaged. This might be our only chance to study their technology up close. Elena nodded in agreement. If we could get aboard that ship and understand how their systems work, we might find weaknesses, information that could save Earth. Lisa Torres stood up. Captain, I understand the logic, but the risk is enormous. If we're wrong about the damage, we'll all be killed. If we do nothing, we'll be killed anyway, Jake replied, along with everyone on Earth. At least this way we have a chance to make a difference. Rodriguez was quiet for several minutes, clearly struggling with the decision. Finally, he spoke. My ship isn't built for combat. If things go wrong, we won't be able to fight or run. We won't need to fight, Jake assured him. We'll approach carefully, study the situation, and only board the alien ship if it's truly disabled. Ben Carter raised his hand. Captain, I've been thinking about what Elena said regarding their modular technology. If their systems really do connect to a central power core, and that core is damaged, most of their defensive systems might be offline. That's my assessment as well, Elena agreed. A reactor failure of the magnitude I detected would shut down all non-essential systems to prevent a complete explosion. Jake looked around the room one more time. I'm not ordering anyone to come with me. This is volunteer only. Anyone who wants to stay aboard the New Horizon is free to do so. To his surprise, every member of his crew stood up to volunteer. Even Rodriguez, after a moment's hesitation, nodded his agreement. All right then, Rodriguez said. We change course for the asteroid field, but I want everyone to understand this clearly. We're approaching the most dangerous thing humanity has ever encountered. If we're wrong about that ship being disabled, we won't get a second chance. The New Horizon altered course toward the asteroid field, carrying 12 survivors and 1 cargo ship captain toward what might be humanity's first real opportunity to fight back against an enemy that seemed invincible. In the darkness ahead, a damaged alien warship waited among the floating rocks, unaware that the primitive species it had tried to exterminate was coming to claim its secrets. The New Horizon moved slowly through the asteroid field, carefully avoiding the floating rocks that could crush the cargo ship. Captain Rodriguez kept the engines at minimum power to avoid detection. Through the main viewing window, they could see their target floating in the distance like a sleeping giant. The alien warship was even more massive than it had appeared in space. 3 kilometers of dark metal hung motionless between 2 large asteroids, connected to them by thick cables. Strange lights flickered along its hull, and sections of the ship's outer armor had been removed, revealing complex machinery underneath. They're definitely making repairs, Dr. Elena Brooks observed, studying the ship through binoculars. I can see Vorthak moving around on the hull. They're working on the main reactor housing. Jake Morrison counted at least 20 alien figures outside the ship. They wore bulky suits that allowed them to work in the vacuum of space. Even at this distance, he could see they were much larger than humans. How many do you think are still alive on that ship? Asked Commander Lisa Torres. Based on the damage readings I took, probably not many, Elena replied. That reactor breach would have flooded most of the ship with deadly radiation. The survivors are likely working desperately to fix their systems before they all die. Sergeant Rick Stone, who had served in several military conflicts, studied the alien ship through a telescope. I count 6 weapon systems still active on this side. The rest appear to be powered down or damaged. Chief Engineer Ben Carter examined the repair work being done on the alien hull. Captain, if their reactor is as badly damaged as Elena believes, they probably have very limited power. Most of their defensive systems should be offline. Jake made his decision. We're going aboard. Ben, can you use the mining equipment on this ship to cut through their hull? Captain Rodriguez looked worried. My ship carries industrial cutting, lasers for asteroid mining. They should work on alien metal, but getting close enough to use them means we'll be spotted. Not necessarily, Amy Parker said, pointing to a section of the alien ship hidden behind a large asteroid. If we approach from that angle, the asteroid will block their view until we're right next to them. Elena pulled up the ship's schematics she had recorded during their first encounter. Based on these scans, this section should contain their computer systems and data storage. If we can access their information, we might learn how their technology works. Lisa Torres shook her head. This is incredibly dangerous. We have no idea what we'll find inside that ship. We know what we'll find if we do nothing, Jake replied. Earth will be destroyed and humanity will be extinct. This is our chance to learn how to fight back. Rodriguez maneuvered the New Horizon carefully through the asteroid field. The cargo ship was not designed for delicate flying, but the captain's years of experience showed as he guided them closer to the alien vessel without being detected. When they reached the alien ship's hull, Ben Carter activated the mining laser. The powerful beam cut through the alien metal like butter, creating an opening large enough for a person to enter. Strange atmosphere vented from the hole, glowing faintly green in the vacuum of space. Atmosphere is toxic to humans, Elena announced, checking her readings. We'll need full environmental suits. Jake, Elena, Ben, Rick, and Amy prepared to board the alien ship. Rodriguez and Lisa would remain aboard the New Horizon, ready to leave quickly if necessary. The 5 volunteers put on heavy spacesuits and checked their equipment carefully. "Remember," Jake told the boarding team, "we're here to gather information, not to fight. If we encounter living aliens, we avoid them if possible." They entered the alien ship through the hole Ben had cut. The interior was dark and filled with strange sounds. Mechanical noises echoed through the corridors, and the air glowed with an eerie green light. The gravity was stronger than Earth normal, making movement difficult. "The radiation levels are high but not immediately deadly," Elena reported, checking her instruments. "We should limit our time inside to no more than 2 hours." The corridors were enormous, designed for creatures much larger than humans. Strange symbols covered the walls, and the architecture followed no human design principles. Everything seemed designed to intimidate and overwhelm. They moved deeper into the ship, following Elena's scanner toward what she believed was the computer core. Along the way, they discovered something that made them all stop in shock. In a large chamber, they found the bodies of dozens of Vorthak crew members. The aliens were huge, standing nearly 3 meters tall even in death. They had 6 arms, hard shell-like skin, and large compound eyes. The radiation from their damaged reactor had killed them slowly. "They look like insects," Amy whispered, studying one of the bodies. "But they built starships and energy weapons." Rick Stone examined their equipment. "Look at these weapons. They're built into their suits, connected directly to their bodies. These aliens are living weapons." Ben Carter found something even more interesting. "Captain, look at this control panel. It's not designed for these creatures. The controls are too small for their hands." Elena studied the panel carefully. "You're right. This technology wasn't originally theirs. They took it from someone else." They continued toward the computer core, passing through chambers filled with strange machinery. Much of the equipment was damaged, but some systems were still functioning. The ship felt alive, like a wounded animal trying to heal itself. The computer core was a vast room filled with crystalline structures that pulsed with light. Amy connected her portable computer to one of the alien interfaces, hoping to download their data. "I'm getting something," she announced. "Their computer system is damaged, but I can access some files. Wait, there's something important here." On her screen, star charts appeared showing hundreds of solar systems. Red markers indicated worlds that had been destroyed. Yellow markers showed worlds currently under attack. Blue markers indicated targets for future destruction. "This is a map of their entire war," Elena breathed. "They've destroyed thousands of civilizations." Jake studied the chart. Earth was marked in yellow, indicating it was currently under attack, but there were dozens of other yellow markers throughout the galaxy. They're fighting a war on multiple fronts, he realized. Humanity isn't their only enemy. Amy continued downloading files. "Captain, I'm finding technical specifications for their weapons and shields. This is exactly what we need to develop countermeasures." Suddenly, alarms began blaring throughout the alien ship. Red lights flashed and mechanical voices spoke in the alien language. The boarding team looked at each other with concern. "They've discovered us," Rick said, checking his weapon. "How long until you finish the download?" Jake asked Amy. "At least 10 more minutes for the important files." Elena's radiation detector began beeping rapidly. "Captain, the reactor is becoming unstable. The aliens must be trying to bring their systems back online. We need to leave now." Jake faced an impossible choice. They could leave immediately and save their lives, or stay and risk everything to get the information that might save humanity. The alien ship groaned around them as its systems struggled to reactivate. Through the ship's communication system, they heard something that made their blood run cold. Alien voices speaking in broken English. "Human scent detected. Search all sections. Kill the intruders." The hunt had begun, and the humans were trapped deep inside an alien warship that was slowly coming back to life. Heavy footsteps echoed through the corridors as Vorthak soldiers searched for the human intruders. Jake Morrison's team crouched behind alien machinery in the computer core, listening to the approaching danger. Amy Parker worked frantically to finish downloading the crucial data files. 8 more minutes, she whispered, sweat dripping inside her helmet despite the ship's cold atmosphere. Dr. Elena Brooks monitored her radiation detector as the numbers climbed steadily higher. The reactor is building power faster than expected. If they restore full systems, this entire section will be flooded with lethal radiation. Through the crystalline computer towers, they could see alien shapes moving in the corridor outside. The Vortex soldiers were huge creatures, each one carrying weapons that glowed with deadly energy. Their compound eyes swept back and forth as they hunted for the humans. Sergeant Rick Stone positioned himself near the entrance, his small human weapon ready. He knew it would do little against the alien soldiers, but it was better than nothing. "Captain, we have maybe 3 minutes before they search this room." Ben Carter studied the alien machinery around them. "Wait, I think I understand something. Look at these power conduits. They're routing energy from the reactor to different ship systems." "What are you thinking?" Jake asked quietly. "If I can redirect the power flow, I might be able to overload their weapons systems. It won't stop them, but it might buy us time." Elena looked at him with concern. "Ben, you don't understand their technology well enough. You could accidentally trigger a reactor explosion." "Or I could save our lives," Ben replied, already moving toward a control panel. "Amy, how much more time do you need?" 5 minutes. For the essential files. 10 minutes for everything. The alien voices were getting closer. Through their helmet communicators, they could hear the Vorthak speaking in their harsh language, occasionally switching to broken English. "Humans hide like insects. We find. We kill." Ben connected his portable tools to the alien control panel. "I'm going to try something. Everyone stay low." He activated a sequence of commands, trying to interrupt the power flow to the ship's internal security systems. Sparks flew from several alien consoles and the lights in the corridor flickered. For a moment, the searching aliens paused, confused by the sudden power fluctuations. "It worked," Rick whispered. Their weapons powered down. But the success was short-lived. Backup systems activated automatically, restoring power to the alien weapons within seconds. Worse, the power surge had revealed their location to the ship's computer system. Alarms blared even louder. "They know exactly where we are now," Elena said, watching her scanner as multiple alien life signs converged on their position. Jake made a command decision. "Amy, take whatever data you have and let's go. We've learned enough." "Captain, I'm downloading their weapon specifications right now. This could be the key to developing effective defenses against their technology." The first Vorthak soldier appeared in the doorway. The creature was enormous, filling the entrance with its bulk. Its 6 arms held different weapons, and its compound, eyes fixed on the humans with obvious hatred. It spoke in English, its voice like grinding metal. "Primitive species will die slowly for this violation." Rick fired his weapon at the alien, but the energy bolts barely scratched its armored suit. The Vorthak raised one of its weapons in response, charging it with deadly energy. Ben Carter dove at another control panel, this time targeting the ship's life support systems. "If I can create an atmospheric imbalance, it might force them to retreat." He triggered an emergency protocol that began venting the ship's atmosphere into space. Warning sirens joined the existing alarms, and the alien soldiers stumbled as the atmospheric pressure began to drop. "Got it," Amy announced. "Download complete. I have their technical specifications and star charts." "Everyone to the exit now," Jake ordered. They ran through the corridors as the ship continued venting atmosphere. The reduced air pressure made the Vorthak soldiers sluggish, buying the humans precious time. But Jake knew their oxygen supplies were also limited. Elena's radiation detector was screaming warnings as they approached the hole Ben had cut in the hull. "Radiation levels are approaching lethal doses. The reactor is going critical." They reached their entry point to find 3 Vorthak soldiers waiting for them. The aliens had positioned themselves between the humans and their escape route. Without atmosphere to slow them down, the aliens moved with frightening speed. "There's no way past them." Lisa Torres's voice crackled through their communicators from the New Horizon. "Can you find another exit?" "Negative," Jake replied. "This is the only way out." Rick Stone stepped forward, checking his weapon's power level. "Captain, I'll hold them off. Get the others to safety." "That's suicide, Rick." "Maybe. But that data..." Amy downloaded could save billions of lives. Someone has to make sure it gets back to Earth. Before Jake could stop him, Rick charged toward the alien soldiers, firing his weapon and shouting to draw their attention. The aliens turned toward him, their own weapons charging with deadly energy. Ben Carter grabbed Jake's arm. "Captain, look, at the reactor conduits near the exit. If I can cause an overload in that section, it might clear our path. You'll be caught in the explosion. Not if you're fast enough to get everyone out." Elena understood what Ben was planning. "The radiation from a conduit explosion will kill you in seconds. Then you better not waste those seconds," Ben replied with a grim smile. Jake realized they were out of options. "Ben, do it. Everyone else prepare to move fast." Ben ran toward the power conduits near their exit, his tools ready. Rick was still fighting the 3 alien soldiers, somehow managing to keep them distracted despite being vastly outgunned. Ben reached the conduits and began his work. Sparks flew as he overloaded the alien power systems. The section filled with blinding light as energy cascaded through the ship's hull. The explosion threw the 3 Vorthak soldiers backward, clearing the path to their escape hole. But Rick Stone was caught in the blast, his body thrown against the alien hull with terrible force. "Rick!" Jake shouted, but there was no response. "Go! Go! Go!" Elena pushed Jake toward the opening as Ben collapsed near the destroyed conduits, his radiation detector shrieking its final warning. Amy and Elena made it through the hole first. Jake took one last look at Rick and Ben, both motionless on the alien deck. 2 good men had sacrificed their lives to give the others a chance to escape. Jake dove through the opening just as Captain Rodriguez fired the New Horizons engines. The cargo ship pulled away from the alien vessel as its reactor finally reached critical overload. The entire Vorthak warship exploded in a ball of superheated plasma, taking its remaining crew with it. Aboard the New Horizon, the 3 survivors sat in stunned silence. Amy clutched her data storage device containing the alien technical specifications. Elena held her radiation detector, now reading normal levels again. Jake stared out the window at the expanding cloud of debris that had once been humanity's greatest enemy. "We did it," Amy said quietly. "We have their technology secrets." "At a terrible cost," Jake replied, thinking of Rick and Ben. "Captain," Elena said, looking at the downloaded star charts, "this is just the beginning. The data shows that the main Vorthak fleet is still months away from Earth. We have time to prepare." Jake nodded slowly. Rick Stone and Ben Carter had died to give humanity a fighting chance. Now it was up to the survivors to make sure their sacrifice meant something. The information they had stolen from the alien ship would change everything. But the real war was just beginning. The New Horizon set course for Earth, carrying 3 survivors and the most important intelligence in human history.